Well, good morning and welcome back. It is a frosty morning out here at -5 and beautifully sunny at the moment here. There was very little moisture in the Barrens area here where I am now over the weekend. However, once you get out west into the foothills there where I ranch, it was about 4 inches of wet, sloppy snow. But once you got past Fort McLeod, there was very little, and topsoil moisture basically almost has not changed. It's still powdery dry and the gravel roads are still blowing with dust. Here in the seed row, this barley was seeded last week. It is just kind of in the seed imbibition stage. Hasn't really shown any signs of germination yet. Maybe a little bit of swelling at the end there. And right in the seed row, our temperature is basically right at 0 degrees. So hopefully we will be okay here with a lot of the seed that was seeded last week. Soil temperature should have been cold enough that it will have limited germination so far. And with a cold forecast for this week, we probably won't see much germinating or emerging. Oh, here's some of the peas that got seeded last week, and they're still looking okay. We're right about 0 in the seed row. You know, some of these guys are starting to germinate here, but I imagine they're not going to do a whole lot this week when the temperatures are that low. Others, like this one here, have not done anything yet other than you just pick up a bit of moisture. So that's basically in seed imbibition. It's just soft enough to squish, but not really doing anything yet. Well, a seed drill operator just gave me this and told me he needed to pick up a rock in the field to knock something into place, and turned out he picked up a hammer that could be possibly hundreds of years old. It is broken in half, which is probably why it was discarded, but yeah, still really interesting. You know, this has been a hammer for a couple hundred years and is still in use today, technically. So I'd never actually seen one of these outside of a museum, so that's pretty cool. Well, it is certainly a cold and nasty one out here today. This morning it is -9 with the wind chill. It is -20, but we are finally starting to get at least a little bit of moisture. In this pea field, the seed row still seems to be about 0 degrees, which is good news. We don't really want that seed to freeze solid. It's not going to do anything positive, that is for sure. So these guys should be germinating down here. Yeah, they do have little tails on them. So as long as they don't freeze too solid, they should be okay. I might even dig a bunch of these up here today, take them home, thaw them out, put them in the garage on some wet paper towel, see what they do. Take 10, 20 seeds, see what the mortality rate is anyways. Well, the ponds and lakes are freezing over again, so that is not necessarily a great sign. So everybody, I think other than me, is at home staying warm, and I don't think there's going to be any seeding progress for the next few days. Oh, we're starting to get a little bit of accumulation here now, Tuesday afternoon. Still -9, -20-ish with the wind chill. Winter wheat is still looking okay. It's too early to tell if there's going to be any damage to any of this yet. It doesn't really feel frozen or anything, but we could still see some frost burn on some of these leaves. So we'll know more next week. It's going to need a few days of nice weather before we know whether things are damaged or not. Alright, well here is the pea seeds that I recovered out of the field today. So the seed row temperature was 0 degrees Celsius. So these ones here have been pulled out of 0 degrees Celsius and they are now placed here at 22 degrees Celsius. These ones here I removed at the same time, but unlike the other ones, I left them in a plastic baggie outside for 4 hours in -9, -20 wind chill, just to show kind of worst case scenario. I'm pretty sure these ones are going to be perfectly fine. These might suffer reduced vigor. It's hard to say. We're about 75% germinated right now, so I'm curious to see if we're going to see a difference. So I'm going to get these wet and give them a couple days and we'll see what happens. Well, it is now Thursday and we're still getting some light snow. We're about -8, a little bit miserable to be looking at fields. Everything seems to be holding in there so far. We won't know till next week, but for now it's a good time to meet with some customers, get some field plans finalized. Well, we're 48 hours later now, and take a look at our peas here. So you can see the ones that were exposed to -8 are indeed still alive. So the ones that had germinated continue to be alive. There's no death of the growing points or anything like that. There is a couple seeds here, this one here and these two, which never really seem to germinate. This one looks like it may have just begun and then died. So that could have been due to mechanical damage. These could be just due to 70–80% germination rate. There's going to be a margin of error there. Up here as well, you can see the same thing here. This guy just never germinated at all. So all things considered, I think even at -8, survivability looks pretty good. As far as inoculant goes, that's another question. Survivability in the soil should be okay as long as we're not getting too far below that 0 degrees. Well, that's about it for this week. There hasn't been a whole lot going on, just crop plans and meetings with farmers, getting things kind of finalized for the season. So probably Monday, Tuesday, I'll be back out in the fields again, checking for survivability and seeing what's going on. But no doubt it'll be a few more days of nice weather before the crop really starts to emerge. And then we'll have a much better idea of what is going on. So since it's a pretty quiet week this week, I'll share with you some of the other projects I am working on this week. For those of you that don't know, I am a knife maker, so if you follow me on social media, I'm doing that kind of stuff all the time. So aside from doing this in the garage this week, I have been busy formulating out the first batch of Noble Blade Wax. So I've been working on this. It's a beeswax, carnauba wax blend, paste wax for finishing knife handles and axe handles. So I've been kind of testing it out here. This is just a walnut board here, so this is what the finish would look like when it's done. And here's a knife design that I'm working on at the moment. This is going to be a camp chopper knife for working around the campsite with. So this is going to be made out of CPM D2. Should be a nice chopper. And for handle material, I think I'm going to go with this. This is a block I made about 2 weeks ago, I think now. So this is stabilized maple on both sides. And this resin here is glow in the dark, so I think that'll look really cool. And this funny looking thing is a antique finish axe. The type is called a collared axe. It was very, very rusty when I got it, so it is currently sitting soaking in a bucket of vinegar. And probably tonight I will use a wire brush, strip off all the rust, and see what I'm left with underneath. And then I have to manufacture a new handle for it. And that'll be it for this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.